On wishing divine mercy, I am going to start today that for you all you are getting. Subject matter especially is that today, what is the main cause of fail in English in Bangladesh under different education board and different examinations. I am going to reveal something over this matter by the boundless mercy of Almighty. I wish divine mercy. And from the root level of this discussion, I am interested to begin. I should share with you this thing properly and perfectly so that it is possible on the part of you to understand this matter. And it is known to you that in 16th century, Englishmen came to this country, came to especially greater India. You are getting India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Myanmar, Maldives or something like that. You know, they started this business in this country, but the English men used to speak among them in this language, but Bangla speaking people of this country used to speak in Bengali. With the passage of this time, I should share with you one thing. English men became greedy, watching the beauty of this country, number one, as well as wealth. For this reason, step by step, they wanted to occupy power of this country, and for it, they took necessary steps, how to occupy the power of this country. After this and that, I should share with you something. English men took steps to shook hand with Robert. Robert Clive shook hand with him, Mir Jafar Ali Khan, Ghausati Begum, and other senior and junior criminals. And in the that they especially occupied the power. Of course, I should not tell you because the students of this country know more or less how English civilization came. But English men, I should share with you one thing, occupied its power and enjoyed its power 190 years. In this especially period, of course, I should share, and the people of this country are bound to learn their language. Whatever it might be, on that very time, the person who are students, school, college, university, under British administration throughout the whole country, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Myanmar, Greater India, and the students of this area, I should share with you one thing. They were bound to acquire knowledge in this language properly and perfectly. By this of course, I should share with you, they became expert, and I also got opportunity in my student life to speak with a person who completed his matriculation examination under Calcutta University. Especially speaking with him for a long time, I could understand this matter. His quality, capacity, sagacity, tendency is sky-kissing, and speaking skill in writing, different thing, which especially that skill can be compared with higher education in Bangladesh. You are getting varsity level. Being especially a man of matriculation, that particular is a person who had ability not less than master degree holder from university. So from this point of view, I could understand on that time that the student is especially got opportunity to learn this language properly and perfectly. But ruling the country, of course, 190 years, English civilization could not stay here. Robert Clive committed suicide. Other especially personality, of course, who are oppressor, depressor, tormentor, suffering maker, conspirator, machinator, intrigue maker. Step by step, all of them disappeared from mundane world. But Robert Clive was very cunning person, and especially that is called, he made Mir Jafar Ali Khan as Nawab of Bengal, but original power was kept in the hand of Englishmen. But you are getting especially this person statue Nawab, that you are getting Mir Jafar Ali Khan would understand this matter properly, that he is nothing but a statue Nawab. But step by step, especially their trust, the trust of English men and women began to decrease, and especially they thought you the guy who betrayed with your own justice person. It will not take a long time for you to, especially that is called attack us to kill us. For this reason, Mir Jafar Khan was kicked down. He fell down especially from Pastala to Gastala. Because of his kicking of home, of especially that Robert is Clive groups who came to this world to occupy the power of this country. But it is sure, they looted a lot of justice gold, ornament, pearl, uranium, other justice costly items of this country. In the and that especially they enriched their own country. England, England, Ireland, Scotland. On that time, it was only one land. But this particular country had turns into three parts: England, Ireland, Scotland. Whatever is might be. But when English is administration especially disappeared, I should share with you something. Practice especially of this subject is that is called wire continuing. We cannot deny this thing, but step by step is it slow down. Obviously, in the Europe is 1900 is 47. 1900 is 47. Separation especially came, and English is speaking. England is India became one part. East and West Pakistan is became another part. After liberation or I should share with you something. Before liberation war, the students of this country got opportunity to learn many things under British education curriculum under Calcutta University. But whatever it might be, in this and that practices of this on this subject is especially became what poor to poorer, poorer to poorest is one. But especially after liberation war, of course, it is getting countless poor people increased in this country. Because of especially poverty, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman got war torn country, Juddho Vidhosto Desh, war torn country. And the people of this country on that time, I should share with you something, could not manage 3 square of meal per day, let alone education. For this reason, their practices in this subject, of course, English subject, decreased with the passage of this time. Many people of this country, I should share with you something, joined in different job market who had only SSC, not SSC degree, but who passed up to class 8. The person who had degree, up to matriculation, of course, is getting. Many of them became primary school teacher, and in this and that the students who had knowledge up to class 8, they join in Bangladesh army, police, other sector and section, of course, it is getting. Our honorable justice, especially dreamer of this country, consulted Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, consulted this matter with international, especially that is called leaders. Of course, international leaders is also response to the call of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. But especially that is called before forming is a strongest country, Bangladesh, some unruly armed officer as well as senior junior criminals of this country who are faithless traitor destroyed all the members of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Thus, the biggest Titanic ship sank at its first journey. The biggest Titanic ship is especially that sank of its first journey, and especially hopes of Twin Tower, of this country, the people of this country who got their freedom also destroyed the ship. And poor and pauper people, of course, especially they hardly can manage food. Most of them became cultivator, used to work hard in their farmland, cropland. By this issue, they were passing their time. But I should share with you something. In meantime, some primary school were established in this country. Students got opportunity to take education here. Later on, before the death of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, he nationalized all the primary schools. Before Samir especially other primary schools, non-government primary schools were nationalized. Per Upuzila, not Upujala. Upuzila especially one college is nationalized, one high school is nationalized. But in near future, it is our expectation that all the education institution would be able to get status like neighboring country India. Poor and pauper people hardly could manage their food, let alone education. And their forefathers, I should share with you something. Grandfather, father, who had educated one under British curriculum, Pakistani curriculum, and especially they died. And they are especially poor sons and daughter, of course, could not manage their food, clothing, food, clothing, and something like that. On that time they could not practice on foreign language. So far we know. In this and that, but it is sure that the person who are aristocratic people of this country, that you are getting Barani Gulshan Baridhara, Uttara, other famous places of this country, both cosmopolitan and metropolitan city, of course, they could send their sons and daughter to abroad, England, Ireland, Scotland, America, Canada, for gaining higher education. They got opportunity especially to learn this subject, of course, but Bangladeshi students especially did not get opportunity. Poor parents without having education used to cultivate, that is called their land, plow able lands, that in this and that somehow just especially they manage their food, 2 square or 3 square of food per day. Step by step, some students who started to go to school, of course, as the country was war torn, we cannot deny this thing, and they got especially some teachers who are up to class. Teachers' qualification was 8 past teacher. 8 past is a teacher, they tried their best to teach the student, but for being a foreign language, our student could not follow this thing properly, the dictation and decision of those primary school teachers you are getting. On the country, of course, most of the families of this country are poor and pauper, and poor and pauper is a person, they hadn't any basic education, as they lost their parents in the year of 1971. They lost their land, property, shops, other special wealth. In this and that they became poor and pauper. Only some women and men were alive on that time. Whatever it might be, I should share with you something. For this reason, especially our student did not get environment or appropriate teacher under whom they could learn many things. English. For this reason, especially the weakness in this subject is started after Liberation War. Poverty. Poverty is a curse of a nation, we cannot deny, but poverty is or was constant companion the people of this country, and COVID-19 had already proved this thing, that how people became helpless. Countless kindergarten schools throughout the whole country stopped. The teacher of kindergarten school is special, which was run by owner. They were bound to stop these kindergarten schools, and the persons who are engaged in teaching field in kindergarten school, they changed their profession. They took other profession, and this student many of them, some of them got admitted themselves again going to government primary school. And in the meantime, many especially parents, it properly, they lost their jobs. For losing their jobs, especially the parents return to their own houses, and they engaged their sons hire. Just to become especially that salesman of a tea stall, or just especially salesman of a cloth shop, or other especially professional activities and action. In this and that, this especially underaged boys, that is called became a worker in different mills and factories, worked hard to get to just especially earn their bread. On the contrary, the female student is who is to stay at home, tenderest is the person of person, and especially sometimes they would go to school because of his village nature, kidnapper, terrorist, fundamentalist, molester, rapist, other just torturer, many especially girls, adult girls, could not continue their studies because of their especially threat, and so many persons especially in even in the period of COVID-19 are especially molested, and especially they became hurt, very sad and shocked. For this reason, our guardians see throughout the whole country. I should share with you one thing. According to paper, the merit of their daughter at the especially at the age of 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, 18, etc. Especially that school is the student is who are supposed to go to school is taking their books, but in the meantime they became his mother and bearing the child of person, especially in their own lap. They used to go here and there. It is very special misfortune is for the people of poverty stricken in the country. So many beautiful girls of our society, for being a daughter of poor and pauper family, they could not continue their studies because of especially tormentor, as well as especially social pressure and various kinds of suffering and sorrow, distress and agony and prestige for fear of stigma. These especially guardians are bound to marry of their daughters. But it is needless to say or pointless to utter that there are many meritorious girls among them, and they could do many things for the betterment of the society, but they are confined to see in four wall of their own house, to stay at home, to cook food, to rear children, to especially perform other household chores and action. For this reason, this especially that is called tenderest girls, what they learn, they forgot is easily. Many things they forgot. Poverty especially is, I told you, that is called poverty is also cause of for being especially, weak in English in this country. And first and foremost thing, of course, since it is a foreign country, and this language we do not have, most of the guardians of our country do not have any attraction for this language. Our students of this country, they do not feel too much attraction for this subject. As I have noticed, it is seen in rural localities according to paper. But especially somehow they are interested to pass the examination and to get pass mark only. This is especially their satiety or satisfaction. Whatever might be, and this is another cause for being poor in this subject, or especially for the fail under education board. But I should share with you something, since especially there are Bangladesh is a poverty stricken country. Bangladesh is a country of natural calamity. So many justice especially students who lost their houses, and so many persons especially lost their homestead, etc. in different parts of this country, and many books of them had already washed away. And especially mental torture came from different direction: social torture, mental torture, economical torture, crisis of food, different kinds of problems and troubles. In this and that, especially that is called mentally they broke down themselves, and this is another cause for being for the failure in English in this country, because this student is especially do not get proper care at school, do not get proper care at home, do not get proper did not get proper care after their birth. Since it is a foreign language, of course, it a person cannot be expert in success in this subject is overnight, and especially they ought to practice this matter any language of the world. For being a member of this just a subject, I'm not supporting in the child. Because of having English background at university, I'm not supporting in the child, but I'm just telling about the overall condition of our country, how people are deprived. And especially I noticed this thing, The student is who can't understand this subject and they do not wish to read the book. On the other hand, their parents are poor and pauper, uneducated, they cannot take special care. On the other hand, rural localities, of course, especially there are so many rural localities, percentage of especially pass at the SSC Dakhil, according to paper, it is being noticed is a bias that was especially that is called zero. They could not be hero. Percentage of pass, of course, is getting was zero at school, at college, at Alim Madrasa, etc. And my question is that is why they could not pass even a 1%. However, it is easy for you to understand this matter. And shortage of teacher is another is because technique of teaching. I visited some primary school. I noticed especially it is public gathering, not class. Public is gathering so many people. Student is more than 100. Student is sit together. This and that you see, of course, like the sack of especially ট্রাকে যেভাবে বস্তা রাখা হয়, বস্তা আটার বস্তা, আলুর বস্তা, চাউলের বস্তা, এভাবে a teacher especially cannot control 100 of students who stay that place, and it turns into like a fishing market. Chaos and confusion start here, but according to justice especially teaching methodology, per class there should have been at best 20 or 25, maybe 30. And in each bench of course you are getting not more than 2 students. Look at cosmopolitan city, metropolitan city of this country, how they are getting environment, how they are especially gaining knowledge, how far care is taken. And especially in primary school, this student do not get such kind of care. On the other hand, at school, as well as such kind of school is throughout the whole country, where student is especially parents are spending much. Qualified teacher are engaged in this section, and especially it is called decentralized curriculum. Centralized curriculum especially means I should share with you something. The curriculum which is being built by the help of whom? NCTB, National Textbook Board. National Textbook is the board that you are getting, and this curriculum is supported from primary school to secondary section, secondary to higher secondary section. Lot of teachers are engaged in this section, but centralized curriculum, the student who are learning, they are being deprived of fundamental education. Decentralized curriculum, of course, you are getting here. First and foremost is the condition there should have been is improved English, that is called as a classroom. Number 1. Number 2, especially qualified teacher. Number 2. Number 3, trained teachers. And your component of education and other element is what is essential is here. And in this institution there is no any load shedding, because they have their personal generator. In coldest season they do not feel any cold, since it is especially the doors are windows are closed. Students get comfort to study here. Number of students especially in class you are getting 20 to 25. It is not like public gathering. Students khatas are being checked by the teachers, what is being written by them, either it is correct or incorrect. Decentralized curriculum, they are getting this chance and opportunity, but centralized curriculum, because especially a teacher cannot wash 100 khatas for correction. It will take at least 100 to take one class you are getting. For this reason rural students do not get proper education. For not getting proper education, the number of fail especially in rural locality are much than town. But in town locality number of fail is rare, it is sure. We are getting including cosmopolitan and metropolitan city of this country. Centralized curriculum, I should share with you something. Students are being deprived more or less. Decentralized curriculum you are getting, that is called there should have been so many things. In developed countries of the world, of course, you know, you will be able to find only decentralized curriculum. And there student especially there is a competition between his school among the schools between two schools among the schools is especially to create glorious result, and they have also opportunity to especially meet in debating club. They have also opportunity to go to education tour. They have opportunity just to travel. They have opportunity to perform is other task connection. They have opportunity just to take part in that is called composition writing, as well as competition other sector and section, you know, and especially they are getting mental recreation, they are getting proper education, proper food, proper especially supportable thing, comfortable house, as well as special care by the teachers is at school, special care is by parents is at home. And mentally this student is do not suffer, they do not have any poverty, and they do not have any special shortcoming from different section. But poor and pauper student is the rural locality, they do not have ability quality, of course, you know, to purchase. This is most important is the books. Even many students is they do not have special cloth, I mean wearing is thrown up cloth serajama. They come to school is especially and bearing is a broken mentality. Some girls and boys is are to come to school, and even some students is are come to school is in empty stomach, in starvation. That is starve is of course, you know, but they continue their studies. So many students is especially it is being noticed is in rural locality are to starve is because there especially there is the parents cannot is manage proper is food for them. For this is the reason starvation is common thing in the and that this student is maybe male or female are suffering from various kinds of problems, including gastric and especially stomach is pain, various kinds of suffering, so distress agony pain, and even in the time of is giving school is fee, there are some especially patients family, farmers family who are delivered, they cannot especially manage this thing for their sons and daughter. As a result, especially their sons and daughter cannot get opportunity. Load shedding is common thing of our country, of course I should share with you, but because of load shedding is our students who are poor and pauper, they cannot especially have other alternative means, either to use this hurricane or to just use any kinds of especially that, you know, charged phone or charge you are getting that is called is light or some charger light or charge light, etc. In the and that they cannot especially study properly. Mosquito especially attack them seriously and severely. They sweater because of hot, and in the and that especially their listen cannot penetrate or enter into their brain. This is also justice especially another is the cause of fail in this is a subject. But to learn this language, I should share with you something. Students should have at least especially that skill more than 1 or 2 dozens of book, decentralized curriculum. I also consulted with teachers primary school section. I should share with you something. Since especially our rural students do not get opportunity to acquire fundamental knowledge in English, for this reason you can take necessary steps for them. How? In the classroom, you can speak one sentence in Bengali, another sentence in English. As you are getting in Bangla term, you are discussing Manush Samajik Jeep. You can tell man is social creature. সমাজ ছাড়া মানুষ বসবাস করতে পারে না, ম্যান ক্যানট লিভ উইদাউট সোসাইটি। আমরা পরস্পরের প্রতি পরস্পর নির্ভরশীল, উই আর টু ডিপেন্ড অন ওয়ান অ্যানাদার অর ইচ আদার। সমাজে যে বাস করে না হয় সে পশু অথবা দত্ত দানব। এ পার্সন হু ডাজ নট স্পেশালি স্টে ইন সোসাইটি, ইদার হি ইজ গোস্ট অর beast is of the forest. Dear teachers, honorable teacher, staff is of primary section throughout the whole country, if you are interested is to develop the nation, only if you depend is on government is it will not be possible on the part of you to develop the students is of our country. I would like to share my speeches with you. In which you can just teach the student. One sentence especially in Bengali and some sentence you can translate, but you should have English is the version book, at least a copy of book with you. Study properly and go especially before entering into the classroom, you may take preparation. But if you go to field in order to just graze cows in the morning and from by grazing is especially cows if you enter into school is and what kind of preparation can you take? Can you take any preparation is for it at all? Obviously not, and especially before entering primary section is you need to just practice yourself deeply, because primary education is means it is the foundation period of student's life. This is the foundation period of student is life. I would like to just discuss this thing in TV and different channels for primary school teachers of this country who are engaged in teaching field especially, and if there is trained properly and perfectly after this and that special that is called at high school secondary section, when they come and the teacher is who teach that subject, maybe Islamic history, আল্লাহ আমাদেরকে সৃষ্টি করেছেন ফরে মাওলানা, আল্লাহ হ্যাজ ক্রিয়েটেড আস, আল্লাহর দয়া ছাড়া আমরা বাঁচতে পারি না, উই ক্যানট সার্ভাইভ উইদাউট দি মার্সি অফ আল্লাহ। আল্লাহ সমস্ত পৃথিবীর স্রষ্টা, আল্লাহ ইজ দি ক্রিয়েটর অফ দি হোল ইউনিভার্স। They are honorable Maulana teachers throughout the whole country who are engaged in teaching in secondary section. You may discuss in the and that, of course your student will be good in this subject. But if you depend only on your English teacher is at school, only one English teacher of your school cannot develop all the students equally, because they do not have fundamental quality. But if you are interested to develop the students of our country, you must try combinedly, and you should have combined support for them. Otherwise it is not possible on the part of any person especially to perform the so serious task of this country. Honorable secondary school teachers, in order to just remove this thing, justice especially percentage of fail at the examination under board or education board, you are getting madrasa board etc., you can take a step. I will request you not to teach our students how to adopt copies in the examination hall. If you just teach our students how to adopt these copies in the examination hall, obviously this student will not read their books at all. They will think especially one matter, to pass the examination only we need to cut some pages of the book and we can enter into the examination hall. Thus we can just get certificate, it will be enough. But ultimately the teachers who are engaged to perform this task, you are slaughtering your students. The teachers is a person, guardians and other is the person who are performing such kind of activities and action for the students is your primary section, secondary section, higher secondary section, madrasa education, Dakhil, Alim, Fazil, Kamil etc. This and that, if you perform this task and action I should share with you, you are slaughtering the education, you are slaughtering especially that is called the backbone of nation. You are slaughtering especially the student is merit, and you are slaughtering especially also this and that, of course and they are getting the brightest result at the examination, but in the admission is the battle, their percentage of pass, of course you have seen is different thing. Therefore I will tell you, I will request you, the Maulana teachers of other subject etc., don't teach our students how to adopt malpractices in the examination hall, and by especially that is called adopting malpractice in the examination hall, the students who are getting GPA 5, after this and that this GPA 5 is not helpful for them when they go or face varsity examination, medical section, varsity section, as well as engineering section, and especially at home and abroad, other parts of the world, because especially that is called board may issue certificate. This certificate is not enough for the learners to be expert and sagacious, and so especially let us come to the point what to do. I'm going to tell inshallah second part by the grace of Almighty Allah how to develop quality of our students, number one, and cause of fail.